Aung San says the public should feel safer with such testing operations, including those at public housing blocks. He adds that testing is effective in preventing further spread of COVID-19 and that more will be done in the future. Mr. Aung notes that the coronavirus situation is not quite bad in Singapore and that the number of cases has stayed mostly the same since the 16th of May, based on a 3-day moving average. He says vaccines are effective at reducing the spread. So far, 78 cases are vaccinated compared to 300 who aren't. And you can get the latest on the COVID-19 situation here in Singapore and around the world via our digital arm. Head to cna.asia and check out the CNA mobile app.
Moving on to another story now, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko is being accused of state terrorism and hijacking. That's after one of his government's fighter jets forced a commercial Ryanair flight to divert so that an exiled opposition journalist could be arrested.
European Union leaders will discuss possible sanctions at their summit in Brussels today, amid outcry across the continent over the brazen act. The Ryanair flight was en route from Athens to Lithuania when Belarusian fighter jets directed it to land in Minsk on the pretense of a bomb on board.
Once on the ground, authorities arrested activist Roman Protasevich, who is accused of provoking riots last year against President Lukashenko. The plane was allowed to continue its journey to Lithuania after Protasevich was detained.
We are very tired. We were 8 hours there. We didn't get any information what happened, only what we could find on the internet. We sat there and with no information.
Poland's prime minister has called the incident a hijacking, joining Germany, Ireland, the U.S. and others in condemning the act as one of piracy. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken described it as a shocking act that endangered the lives of 120 passengers.
Well, the International Civil Aviation Organization also expressed its strong concern over the forced landing. Lithuanian prosecutors have opened a criminal probe into the alleged hijacking.
The U.S. is imposing a range of restrictions on Ethiopia over the ongoing crisis in the country's north, where thousands of people have been killed and hundreds of thousands more displaced. The restrictions primarily hit economic and security assistance to Ethiopia for atrocities committed in Tigray. Washington will also bar entry to current or former Ethiopian or Eritrean government officials who are deemed responsible for the crisis. In a statement, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken noted that diplomatic engagement have resulted in no meaningful steps to end hostilities or to pursue a peaceful resolution of the political crisis, and adds that the people of Tigray continue to suffer from human rights violations, abuses, and atrocities. Despite the curbs, Mr. Blinken says Washington will continue its humanitarian aid in areas such as health, food, and education. The Tigray conflict was sparked in November of last year when Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed sent troops to detain leaders of a regional ruling party.
Regional violence intensifies in Myanmar as opposition to the military coup grows.
The latest escalation comes after a clash broke out near the border with China. Members of the People's Defense Force, a coalition of local militia, overran a police station near the town of Mobai in southern Shan State. That's about 100 kilometers east of Naypyidaw.
Around 13 members of the army were killed during the raid, and the group also claims they managed to capture at least 4 police officers.
Clashes between resistance fighters and security forces also erupted in Kaya State, where about 40 soldiers were reportedly killed. Civilian forces in several regions have allegedly taken up weapons from air guns to homemade bombs to counter the military since late March.
But the surge in violence comes as the military takes more action against those opposing it. They've suspended close to 126,000 teachers for joining the civil disobedience movement. The suspension ahead of the new school year, which some teachers and parents are boycotting amid the troubles.
Meantime, the European Union has denounced the Election Commission's plan to dissolve Aung San Suu Kyi's party, the National League for Democracy. The military-appointed commission said it also plans to have NLD leaders charged with treason. The EU says the move goes to show the military's disregard for the will of Myanmar's people and for due legal process.
And talking about legal process, Aung San Suu Kyi is expected to appear in court in person today. She faces 6 charges, including sedition, and has not been seen in public since the February 1st coup. Leong Wai-kit has more.
All eyes will be in Naypyidaw today, as many are expecting ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi to personally appear in court. Her lawyers had earlier quoted a judge who said Ms. Suu Kyi will face her charges in person and not online as in previous cases. If so, this would also mark the first time her lawyers will see Ms. Suu Kyi face to face. Security in the capital city will no doubt be tight. There are no further details to Ms. Suu Kyi's slated court appearance. Some sources say that she may appear in a makeshift court near to where she's currently detained. And if she does appear in person, it will be a significant development. Many of her supporters will want to know how she's coping during this period. More importantly, they're hoping to hear what she may have to say during her appearance. As of now, it's unclear if Ms. Suu Kyi has been kept informed of what's going on in the country so far. Remember, any form of guidance or hint coming from Ms. Suu Kyi herself will be closely followed by her supporters. Still, there is no guarantee that her slated court appearance will take place as scheduled. Ms. Suu Kyi's online court hearings had been delayed multiple times, mainly due to glitches in video conferencing. On the few occasions when Ms. Suu Kyi's lawyers did catch a glimpse of her, they told the world what they could see: that Ms. Suu Kyi has lost weight but appears to be in good health. And she's getting increasingly frustrated with the slow court process and her requests to meet her lawyers in person turned down. The ousted leader faces 6 charges in total. She was first arrested for illegally owning walkie-talkies, a controlled item in Myanmar. She's also accused of breaking COVID-19 measures, causing people to revolt, and most recently, breaching a colonial-era official secrets law. The Myanmar army is also preparing to charge Ms. Suu Kyi with corruption. It's aired what it calls confession videos of a prominent businessman as well as former Yangon Chief Minister Phyo Min-teng. In those videos, they detail accounts of how they bribed Ms. Suu Kyi with cash and gold. Leong Wai-kit, CNA.
Still ahead, overwhelming demand for the world's most important metal, copper, drives up its prices, and analysts see a sustained rally ahead. Plus, further signs the once high-flying SPAC market is losing its shine.
Breaking news.
Chanting for Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha to step down.
Long live the people!
We will be seeing sporadic protests flare up from time and time again.
Key developments.
37th ASEAN Summit.
Live events. Analysis and perspectives.
We will really be seeing vaccines soon.
Imports, which were expected to grow slightly, contracted 2.1%.
News that matters. Asia Now, daily. On CNA.
The internet, it's contributing to global carbon emissions.
This is like the iPhone of 1902.
We collect information from the landscape.
She's my wife, she's dying, please help.
It's majestic.
I finally made it to the realm of the gods.
What would recipes from 100 years ago actually taste like?
Hello, model.
Sabe to mas sak kilak ben taun.
These animals can carry infectious diseases.